Hello, I'm Robin and welcome back to the cold corner of the shed where we're going to be warming ourselves around a soldering iron and another new kit. This one's a bit special. It's a bit interesting and I'm quite excited to get to the end of it so I can try it out and sort of work out what it does. This is from Voltage Vibes. This is pretty much their first proper module. They've done adapters and holes and sort of reversed backward patch things, but this is a real thing, a real deal. And what's exciting about it is this enormous button on the front and what will be an enormous fader. This is called the Buildup and Drop. I think just call it the Drop. It's probably a bit simpler, but the idea, I think, at least in my head, is that you gradually build things up with the fader till it's just chaos, and then you hit the button and it all drops. That's what I think happens. I don't actually know, but that's what I think. That's what I'm going on, and we'll discover together what the actual functionality is. Now, the kit as it goes is not too intense. That's why I thought I might just fit it in before lunch. It's got a single little PCB, a lot of surface mount already on there, so you know all the components are already there. What we're dealing with is the front panel, the hardware, power connectors, you know, the big chunky stuff. So that shouldn't be difficult at all. I've also been sent a couple of different colour schemes, depending on what I fancy. Either a sort of a salmony orange, I suppose, or the purple. I can't quite decide which ones. I'm going to have to think about that. But in the meantime, let's have a look at our bag of stuff. Now, currently, to my knowledge, there isn't a build guide as such. So, I mean, Peter at Voltage Vibes sort of sent this to me in the hope that I would perhaps help with that. So here I am getting around to helping with that, I think. And so I'm just gonna have a go. That's interesting. To see what I can make of it. But my understanding, as far as I can see, that everything is essentially printed on the front, so there shouldn't be any trouble. I don't think. Nah. Straightforward is what I'm going with. Now, I could, of course, be patient and wait and talk to Peter about it and really get it together. I just want to steam straight in because these kits are already out there. People are already doing it. So I think, well, let me do that. Let me have that user experience and see how much of it I can make work. So we have some pictures on the website, which is groovy, of sort of the finished article. Oh, it's a handsome module. That's what it is. I think it's brilliant. I just think it's a brilliant idea. I love it. The important thing is there's definitely this picture at the back showing this switch arrangement which goes in here somehow. So that's going to be an important bit, and I'm glad there's a photo of that. Otherwise, I reckon we should just try and decide which bits to put on and put them on. I mean, that's the idea, yeah? So I think it's probably best to do... I don't know what's best to do. It's probably best to do the power connectors first. They tend to be the thing. Now, my question at the moment is that the screen print here gives me pin numbers for this connector here. This is a ribbon connector for, I think, connecting it to other things. And I don't actually know off the top of my head where pin 1 is on this, because often when you get a screen print you actually get a lump taken out, which is what you put this key bit on, so you know which way round it goes. Now I can make kind of an assumption there's an arrow here which would indicate perhaps that this is pin 1, and that fits with this one here that's pin 1. So I'm inclined to believe it goes that way round. I'm just saying that I don't actually know for sure, but that's what I believe to be right. And having a look at this picture here, this is showing this side, and that's got the key bit sticking, I'll put this the right way around, sticking out that side and not that side. And that would bear out my theory. It shouldn't be theory, it should be known, that is pin 1 and that is pin 1 and that goes that way round. That's my belief at this juncture, and I'm going to go with that. Yeah, that's right. That's got to be right. That's got to be right. I think that's got to be right. So what else do we need on here? There's a power connector. Okay, it's not a shrouded one, it's just a regular one, so it doesn't matter which way round that goes. Like so. I think that's all that's on this side of the board. Everything else is on the other side. I'm pretty sure. Let's move that out of the way for the minute. Let's see if let's use his business card. His phone number. To turn that over. And that's all fallen apart. No, that's good, that's good, that's there. That's there. That's all good. I need a little something under there to stop it falling over. Turn on the soldering iron. Get me safety specs. Magnifiers. La-di-da. Oh, I'm getting to the end of this solder reel. Is that a worry? No, I'm sure I've got another one. Just going to do one. I'm going to hold this down so it's pushing those pins up. I'm going to do one there. I'm going to do one over here. And one on the power. Just hold it as I release so that as it solidifies, it's going to be as straight as possible. And they look pretty straight to me. Did do that the right way around, didn't I? Yeah, pretty sure I did. Good. Great. So I will just finish off doing the rest of those legs. Good, lovely, easy. So then we have to think about the front panel. So we've got all these bits and pieces. Should they all go on together, do we think? Or do we do them a bit at a time? Because this is a very sticky outy thing. And kind of they all need to go on, and then, because that's going to cause trouble sticking up. Maybe it'll be better to put the other bits on first. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to put all of the sockets and knobs on, put the front panel on to secure them, and then solder them all in. Then do the fader. I'll do the fader last. That's the plan. That's definitely the plan. So these just go in a row. So we're on the other side of the board now, because this is going to be the one going to the front panel, but you're following the silk screen, you're following the print in white that's on the board. It's telling you where everything's going. That front leg goes into the bit that's poking off, and it sort of creates just about enough tension to hold the socket in. Like that. Now these two knobs, two pots are the same, 10k, yeah. So they're going to go here. Got a bit of a bend. So put the 3 prongs in and then push it down. Hopefully that will just work nicely for you. So, good. And we've got 4 switches. These all seem similar. But these 2 white connectors, I wonder what they go on to. Can't see at the moment. But they seem to be next to the power. Get to that in a minute. So 4 switches. Now, what's the height like? Because I might need to put little nuts on. How many nuts do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, looking at the front image, it doesn't look like the switches have nuts on the outside of this. So that to me, I'm just trying to see if it's the right height. And I think they probably need a nut on them. So that's what I'm going to do, stick a nut on them, just so it's going to be at the right height behind the front panel. As there's not quite enough nuts to do front and behind, what am I saying? I don't know. I'm just going to put a nut on, alright? Just gonna put a nut on. Now, clever people will probably say that what you need at this point is a bit of blue tack or some masking tape in order to hold all of these components on. That is not quite right. That is a different size one. That's odd. There we go, that's better. So, because when you put everything on, it might be a bit tricky trying to get the front panel over all these bits as they're wobbling about. But I'm just going to give it a go, see what happens. So this is going to go this way around. Just want to get those switches through. Yes! Oh, yes! Oh, look, it all came together beautifully. That was unexpected. So, okay, so this must be how it kind of goes. So what I'm attempting to do here is just to secure this on so that all the bits are in the right places for when I solder them from underneath. So I'm going to put a nut on here, not over tight, and put one on over here. Come on! Just to secure it. So when I turn it over, I can solder everything. And it should be good. Those switches, are they alright? Yeah, everything's good. Everything's flush, everything's flat. Just important to be aware of all the things around about on the PCB, that you're not going to melt something, you're not going to accidentally unsolder a bit of surface mount. Melt the side of a power connector. This is all a bit wobbly. Need it a bit less wobbly. Can I support it on something? Is that going to help? Yeah, a little bit. So that's all soldered. It's looking okay on this side. Everything seems pretty solid. But of course I'm not done yet, so I need to take this off. Checking that everything seems to be lining up all right. Yeah, that was definitely the right decision to put those screws on the switches. Right, so I've got the fader, but I've also got this little lighter to go on. LED, switch. So it's down over there. It's on this bit here. So this bit here which says LED, switch. That's definitely what this is about. So all I've got to work out is this refers to this thing which attaches to the back of the big button. If I put this in here, well, let's present it to it. So according to the photograph, the black bit goes towards the edge of the PCB. So the black and the red is going to be the LED, and the other two is going to be the switch. That's the way I'm seeing that. So in which case this is going to go in there like that, so that the black is nearest the edge of the board. That's what I've got. I'm going to go with that. So this is smaller than this, so when I turn this over it's all going to go horribly wrong. So to do this I'm going to need possibly some masking tape. To hold that on there. Something like that. Which of course then covers up what I'm trying to solder, which is not the plan. So right, that seems to be working. I'm going to put it down on that. I'm going to capture a leg. And then check. Okay, that's nice. And this is going to connect in like that, which has I'm following that picture which says positive, but the black cable is labelled LED positive. So this is where it might all fall apart. Well, okay, we're just going to go with it. I'm definitely going to go that way around. And ultimately, I've got 4 wires and 4 ends, so I can plug them in whichever way I like. So it doesn't really matter which way round or the order of the cables. Ultimately, it's just making sure that the right ones go to the right part of the switch. That's all that's important. Anyway, got to solder the rest of that in. I'm not talking about it. So let's do that. Nice. So now enormous fader thing we have to put in. So this has to go a particular way round. Got these 2 dots there, 4 at the bottom. Can't beat a nice big fader, really. Oh yeah, we're in. So this, if anything, is going to be a little bit low. So when I turn it over, will that be a problem? Maybe I can bend back those bits a little bit to hold it in. That might be good. So for this, I think I'm going to put this back on again. I mean, there's plenty of space there. The knob, I mean the cap. How far does the cap go down? Well, there's actually plenty of room for that as well. Alright, not going to worry too hard then. Okay, I think that's going to be fine to solder as it is. Or is that going to make it more difficult? No, okay. I'll go round in circles rather. Make a decision, man. Okay, just put it down, solder something, see how it goes. Now the last thing is the back of this thing. So let's put the front panel on. And then work out the bit of the back. Right, this here switch thing. This evidently goes in here and makes all that work. But how exactly does it go in? Okay, look, there's these side bits here that hook in by the looks of things. It's the same either side. Yeah. So what I need to know is what way round that goes in. So according to that, get this in the same orientation roughly. This goes in like that. Ooh, I've turned the whole thing. It must go in like that. Okay, so it just takes a bit of force, and then that's in. Now this feels very wobbly, so what do I need to do? I've got a windy bit there. Okay, so that tightens up. Yeah, no, tighten it up there is best. I don't think, see this here, seems to be a bit of a screw, a bit of a nut, which will tighten this back up again. I don't think it should be on this side, that would be silly. So it's there against the front panel, that makes the most sense. So that is the orientation they've got it on the screen. This, no, up like, no, it's like this. Like that. Yeah, like that. Okay. So on their selection, mine should be the same. This is going to go in this way up. And I've got black, red, white, yellow. And they've got black going to the far one. They've got red coming to this side. Now let me just see if there's any writing on it. No. So red is going to go on this side. Try not to break anything. White seems to go to the top one. And yellow goes to the top of these two here. Got all of that? Right, see that? So black goes to this one over here. Red goes to this one, white to the top, yellow to the one underneath. That seems to be what it is. Look at all this stuff. What's all that about? But hey, It's not going to be in the way. I mean, you've got a little bit of depth here when talking about Eurorack modules, but yeah, this is going to push out of the way, so that's no biggie. What I need to do is tighten this up, because this is now ridiculous, which is why I'm glad I didn't put the front panel all the way on all the way. So undo that again. Now, this is not going to go all the way off now because I've got that bit on. I'm going to want to tighten this up. Like that. Right. So, in some ways I've got to choose my colour scheme. Well, let's get these, just get these knobs tightened up. Because then, in terms of these, the nuts that go on here, we've got some colour choices. I'm quite liking the purple, if you can call it purple. Okay, so what are my choices? That or that. Now there is something about orange, but these are a little bit salmony for me. Whereas I think the kind of the purpliness is really rather nice on there. So I think I might go for that. Might go for that arrangement. So as it is on the picture. So this, I think that just squishes on. I think it does. Does it have a particular way around? No, I think it just squishes on. And that's what an awesome fader. Look at the state of that. That's fantastic. Move the fader, not the module. Nice. Then I've got, what is this? This is offset and a mount. So offset, apparently, well, I could go orange and purple. I mean, would that be too much? Might be too much. Stick with a white, I think. Yeah. Keeping it real. So this, these have got only one way around that they can go, pretty much. So that makes things simpler. And then you just got to push them on real tight. Out. Oh, crikey, blimey. Let's try to push it on without breaking something. Okay. That's down. This one, similar. Ugh. Okay, on. Good knobs, like them. And at the top, well, I've got a whole selection of different ones. So I've got a couple of purples, which could go for out. These are, I imagine, Bafako banana nuts, whatever they're called. Oh, let's go with a red one. I'm not sure about that, but hey, I'll go with it. Go with it. Don't overthink it. I've got a little Bafako tool here that helps me tighten these up. That looks pretty damn smart. So there it is. I did that in under an hour, not too bad. Obviously I've got to plug it in, see if it functions. The back on here, you've got red stripe is indicated on the back, red stripe on your power supply. A ribbon cable that goes in there like that, red stripe. Now I just need to plug it in and see if I can get something interesting to work out of it. It's just too exciting. So let's get it plugged into something and see what it does. Right, okay. Here we go. Plug this into the ribbon on here. Hopefully this is deep enough to handle it. This funny old wire sticking out. Kind of, it's not. Okay. What have I got going on behind? It's usually something in the way. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Right, power first. Let's check it out. Okay, no smoke as far as I can see. There's a light. There's a light. It's looking fairly good. So what does it do? Well, that's a whole other question. So I've got CV in. I've got bud out. So if I take the bud out, right, put that into CV in on here. I think you immediately get the idea. So essentially, well, I mean, there's a whole number of things you can do with that. I mean, I haven't even looked into any of the other controls on here. It was just that particular thing that interests me. So what I'll do with the malt is to put this in to control more than one thing. That's just awesome. So I bring these all the way down, so they're doing nothing. It's like having a drum level. Put a third one in. Why the heck not? That is fantastic. Not sure what everything else does. I mean, I've got I don't know, gate drops, trigger press, trigger release. So presumably I can probably trigger something on pressing this and then releasing it. So I've got that stuff going on. CV in, don't know. I've got inverse or normal. Some press or on release. I see. So does it latch when I press it? Does it latch when I release it? Well, that's flipping genius. That's the greatest thing. See, I was fiddling around with U-grids and my own, molten motion meter before in order to control the level of drumminess, and that's quite good. And that gives me 3 channels individually for each of the 3 channels of the microgrids, which is what I'm using here to run the drums. But wiring it all in to this fella and just being able to bring that in, drop it out, that's pretty awesome. Then you can latch that as a bypass or just hold it. It's brilliant. I have no idea what this other stuff does. I mean, who knows? Who cares at this point? I will look into that. But suffice to say, it was an easy build. It's just the front panel stuff is really all you're messing about with. It was easy to put together. Didn't really even require any instructions. Although Peter has now sent me some, God bless him, which is nice. And it more or less just confirmed what I knew. So there's other things to explore in here. But get out the way, which I will definitely look into. But for what I thought it was going to do, it absolutely nails it. That's just hilarious. I can't quite get over it. Oh, I've broken it now. So there you have it. The build and drop. The bud or the drop. Whatever you like. From Voltage Vibes. Hope that was helpful. In the meantime, go make some tunes.